Warriors traders, get out your pens and paper. Uh, this is going to be a macro look ahead. Steve and I, as traders, live in the future. We trade in the now, but like Gretzky, we're always skating to where the puck will be, not where the puck is. So, Steve, great to have you back, buddy. I mean, the last show,
Oh, that
the
was
title
great.
was the title was Even Gold Bulls Hate the Miners,
Yep.
and that was a huge move. You milked it like a farmer on a dairy cow all the way up. I mean, you stayed with it all the way up. That was
Uh, the
probably the
setup was there, Dale.
trade of the
Setup was
quarter,
there.
Steve.
Yeah, a lot of people made quite a bit there. I talked to a couple in like my community there. Some of them did very well. One of them made generational wealth there. But anyway, uh,
Nice.
Dale, always a pleasure speaking with you. I like the shirt, by the way. Uh, you got the
Hope.
B there for Bitcoin.
Well, you know me better. You know my hope's not in Bitcoin, but I like the shirt. So
What do you
anyway,
want to start off with? You know what, Dale? I was thinking like maybe we should show a recap of what
yeah,
happened on January 6th. This is kind of like an anniversary here on June 6th. It's
yeah,
funny how it became the 6th, June 6th, January 6th, 6 months,
yeah.
first
It's
half of the year.
interesting,
Let's see if we could hit the end of the year now.
and that's
I'd like to
two
show some
threes.
clips because
Okay.
Dale, I'm serious. Like you ever see analysts, they're on Bloomberg and then they'll
Yeah.
be like, this guy predicted the crash in 2008, but the guy said it probably 15 times, and all of a sudden they get it right the first time. What we talked about in
The
January
broken.
was a
Yeah.
low that hit and
Yeah.
flew. So I want to show some segments here, guys. Like
All
this was
right.
crystal ball predictions, and we even stated when we were doing the show in January that this is like a ballpark figure. But just I wanted to point out that if you're a good chartist such as yourself and you could kind of predict, things change, kind of predict where the market would go in the long term. It's in the charts. When we picked the top there, it was in the charts. And what did we say? You know what? If they're going to really, which I call the boys, if they're going to really do something, they're going to want to bring it to this level, but they got to hold that level. Because that level 48.20, if they
Yeah.
close there, especially in a weekly, all hell would break loose. And Trump came out with a tweet there.
Yeah.
And then boom. So I'm going to do some clips for you folks. I think you guys are going to enjoy this. Here we go. This is the first one. This was a level that is extreme importance. This is calling the top. This was the top in the S&P on January 6th.
Boy, did I need a haircut.
Extremely important. This is on a bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. Here it comes. It's support and resistance pivots have more weight, meaning. And this is where we see the L pivot, Dale. Significant value. I know people that just wait for certain ones. That's where the patience comes in, and they do very well. They're extremely patient, and they wait for certain pivots for swing trading. So there's the top that we picked. Here we go. Here we go. You repeat the weight, Dale. Here it comes. This market rallied like crazy. Here it comes. If it got to this level, 48.22. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Now, let's go on to this one, Dale, where you predicted
about the guys. And if we're going to 7,000, perhaps they'd like to buy the market cheaper before that happens. Yes. And shake out bomb and pop, get them to puke down there at 4,800, and then we have a meltdown.
Guys, that's exactly what happened. This was January the 6th. I haven't seen this anywhere, Dale. Dale, have you? You know more than me.
No, I mean,
have you ever seen anybody in January? You've interviewed over 2,000 traders. I know that. Have you ever seen anybody predict that?
That was one of the best calls of my career. The 6,100 level was
It's not over, Dale. Let me play it, then we're going to talk about it. It's not over.
I was going to retire.
It's not over. It's not over. Here we
All
go.
Right, go ahead.
He starts tariffing everybody. Here we go. Watch this. Trump comes in.
Starts tearing everybody. Market
That's exactly what happened. Starts tearing everybody.
doesn't like it. It's
The market doesn't like it.
20, 48, 20 area.
The low on the S&P was 48.38. I call that close enough. No, Dale? It hits
Yeah.
our 48.38 and watch.
Yeah, I had return lines here.
We get a major squeeze, and then there's a nice reset.
That's the bottom. We get a major squeeze. Is that what just happened?
Yeah.
Watch this. Okay, now watch this one, Dale. This is where you come in, Dale.
But here's, all right, I buy
Hold on. Watch this one.
to be a trader.
Nice shakeout and then squeeze like you wouldn't believe.
At 48.20.
Tariffs start rolling, gives an excuse for everybody. Gives an excuse.
This is about the miners now, Dale.
Okay.
Scare the crowd. Nice big.
And that's when everything goes. That's when silver goes to 50. That's when commodities really begin to.
Here it comes, Dale.
Because I'm really looking at the metals for January, February, March.
I started buying miners. I bought miners.
There you go, Dale.
Steve. I know I'm early.
You caught the low, Dale.
When I'm in an accumulation, I went with this one, and you know, if you look at the weekly, they've really gotten cheap, and even gold bulls
Nice call, Dale.
and silver bulls hate the miners.
A lot of people made a lot of money on this, Dale.
We've gone through some tax loss selling, because most people got long near the highs, but I bought this one last week.
Well, I'll say it again. I think we talked about it the other show. The only sector that really has it, me that's behind me, by the way. I don't know if you see him, Joe. You want to see that? With that, but now he helps trade too.
Here we go.
Gold doing okay with silver acting loud. The low end, Joe. Forward. I think the dollar is peaked.
There's a.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
So, Dale, did you hear that? The dollar.
Dollar has peaked.
So this is where it gets interesting, folks,
Yeah,
where we get the
110.
gold calling the dollar.
Yeah.
Dale calling the dollar peaking. They're both.
There's a ball controlling both.
Did you hear? That was the top of the dollar, by the way.
If we're going to embark on a bear market, and people will panic under par, Steve, in the dollar.
That's what happened.
I start to panic.
I think the miners
We're under par now.
Those leveraged ones. I didn't even look at.
They went parabolic.
Good sized dirt bulls there at the lows. I think the miners are going to shine from now till March, like some parabolic.
They
They
did.
even went longer. They're still going. The silver shares exploded yesterday. It's going to be. This should be a long last.
Really spike till March.
It did.
I think it's going to be when
What?
Trump comes in.
It did. Here it comes.
It's a catalyst. His policies are bullish for the metals.
Yeah.
How about oil?
Oil, I've been looking higher.
It went higher.
I think oil's going to. You want to talk about gold first or oil?
This is it. Here we go, Dale. This is the call. This is it.
What I got for gold here. I think you're going to like it. But I've been really bullish gold. I'm in buy the dip mode for a while now, and this is what I'm looking for gold. I did say that these dirt pools here in gold futures are most likely buys.
2,600.
That was the low.
Yeah.
Before the big ones.
Here at the bottom. So notice these are not at the top. You got one here, and you got the pullback. But this is a definite sign of accumulation, if you ask me. And
It was.
This is a major support area right here. And it got close to hit my upper band, but it could definitely come here again. Yeah. But as long as my 25.95 holds, which looks like it is going to hold.
It did.
A lot of people took this setup, Dale.
Yeah. Good. The more the merrier.
Parabolic move.
So it's all compressed. It's so compressed down here.
And I got 27.90 right here, which is a good, 120. And above that, I have 2010, and above that, I got 2,900, and I think it could get to 2,900 if what I'm seeing here looks like accumulation, but it is.
And
these are massive.
And that was conservative.
massive.
Well, we take
They-
it step by
they-
step, right?
Yeah, well, they thought
But I
back
say it here,
then-
watch. I say if the T breaks, watch.
And then there's just going to be some, even before it, but there seems to be some positioning here for a nice move, at least the 27.
Watch.
I think it's going to take.
Maybe they-
And I think it's going to take it out. Did you hear?
Yeah.
And it did.
Okay, because the dollar's been strong. It's gone
Nice
from
call.
9.
That's exactly what happened, Dale.
But silver needs a bear market in the dollar to have a bull market. That's historical.
Yeah, it was funny you said that because I was about to say.
True
that.
again.
Yep.
The dollar, they're waiting for the dollar to.
And that was the top.
stay.
Dale called the top of the dollar with the market going down in a rush to the metals. Here we go.
Spike.
Gold.
Gold and the metals combining some, U.S. issues and government, which I'm pretty sure
Geopolitical.
Since Trump comes in, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some back and forth going on in U.S. politics, and I find
Will they get a debt limit reset by the end of the month? Maybe that's the problem.
that could be the parabolic move right there.
Okay.
If that doesn't get settled.
Still facing one. Okay, well then the market's going to take.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you just hear that? That there could be that what?
Yeah.
48.20.
I said after we've been downgraded by Moody's.
Yeah.
And I
That
predicted that
happened.
three.
And that-
I tweeted 3 days before it happened, and that surprised me. And I
Yeah.
wrote it.
Watch this. It's going to end. Watch the ending.
But also, there's the parabolic move, and that could be explaining all this little trying to hide dark pools. Accumulation. And I'm sure whoever's doing these, some institution knows.
For sure.
Seen some dark pool buying in the UVixy.
The VIX spiked
Yeah.
like crazy in January, but watch this.
60. That's few days. So
That's another
they're using this rally to accumulate vol.
That's exactly what happened, Dale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's usually these spikes in January too, by the way.
It did.
So that's a little seasonality for the VIX is kind of where it is right now. And seasonality for the metals is now too, right till March, right? So you got the seasonality on your side. You got the charts, the levels are showing something's up. Like I said, if 25.95 holds, I'm looking for 27.90. If this breaks, I think it's going to get really interesting.
Did you hear that?
It's just going to go. It's just, you see how it is here.
Look. See here?
Yeah.
If there's a trigger.
2 or 3 is exactly what happened, Dale.
Yeah.
You got that's 1,000. Yeah. It's up there, but watch the ending. Watch.
They love to trap. They like to paint the charts and get people to, sometimes there's people that marry gold. They'll never sell.
Yeah. Right.
And that's why you get some scary red bars, like kind of like this one here.
Yeah.
And they sell, and then look what happens, right? Yeah. It's just, it scares people. People go out and they're like, "Oh, gold's gonna get killed."
Okay, anyway, Dale. That was a recap, folks. I got more, but you could see that on one of the videos there, Dale, I said, and that's exactly what I think is going to happen. The move to the 48.20. You'll hear me. I said that is exactly what I think is going to happen. And it happened. I can't believe it. So I just wanted to recap some of the crystal balls there for me and Dale. And I had a great show Dale, that's probably one for the record books.
Yeah, 2 great calls. The top at 6,100 down to 48, and liking miners when all the gold bulls on YouTube and everywhere else said, "Oh yeah, forget the miners. They have
they got
problems.
ripped.
That's only gambling. You're only gambling."
But that's when it goes up, Dale, when everybody doesn't want it. You know that.
But I mean, even gold bulls, that's how,
Yeah.
how once the sentiment was that someone who likes bulls, likes gold, said would not recommend miners because
Isn't
they
it
had
funny?
been performing so bad. Yeah.
Isn't it funny at the lows where I showed those institutions, some institution, maybe there was a couple of them, where everybody was throwing in the towel on gold, where me and you saw saying, no, this is not a throw in the towel. This is accumulation. And it so happens to be that they bring it to a level where people give up and they need to throw in the towel because they need to accumulate, don't want to spike it. And that's where you've seen all that accumulation just waiting for the last 3 months, just accumulating, 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 accumulating. It's like they were waiting for Trump to get in because it really took off on
Yeah.
like when Trump came in, it started. So it's kind of like foretold, which is
Well, it's a
like
new
what I want to,
regime.
it new regime. But what I'm trying to say is people, traders out there that really position themselves, you can't go ahead and spend hundreds of millions and billions of dollars in positions because it would spike the price. So that's when I say you need to shake the tree. Shaking the tree is getting people to give up their shares
And
so
you
they can
buy
get,
them.
take the other end.
Yeah,
So it's so
exactly.
funny how they shook it enough where you were just saying people were giving up on it. And
Right.
that's the thing with markets, like I like to share with people, is when you see, that's why I like with swing trading, Dale, you'll see people hold their positions and then it gets to a point where they give up and then they throw in the towel. And I don't like trading like that. I used to trade like that like many, many years ago. And that's where you can get into very serious problems when people start using their emotions with trading, saying, oh, I think it's going to go back up. Right. And a
So,
lot of people used to
yeah,
think like that. And what if it doesn't go back up? That's why
yeah.
technicals and charts, which I like, that's why I always say everything is in the charts if you're a good chartist. Everything,
Look,
everything. Geopolitical.
all we can control is defining risk. If you're
That's
getting
right.
into the market, you need to know why. If that why is negated, you know where you're out, what your risk is. I don't think most people have the discipline to use mental stops. Put it in there. I know it doesn't feel good, but you'll be glad later. And then
That's
you
right.
also have to know what your target or objective is to
Absolutely.
keep it around 3 to 1 so you don't have to, hit for 70, 80% to make money. So most people do not even define their risk before they enter the market. And they're just going to be cannon fodder. But
Yeah.
I thought with all of this going on, Steve, I'm sure it's nice to do victory laps, but I know this business, you're only as good as your last trade. They
Yeah.
could
But
go,
that
yeah,
that in
we,
January, Dale, was, we even said it's crystal ball. We don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah.
But there's,
Well,
hey, there's
we
funds
had
out there.
reasons. It was more than crystal
Wait a
ball.
second, wait a second. There's funds out there, they're on your show too, calling ES 8,000, 7,000.
Yeah, there
That
are
could hit in
now.
a year. So
Yeah,
what's it to me that we go in January and say, you know what, this is what we're looking for?
yeah.
We don't know the market's going to go to seven.
You
At
know,
least I don't. I
most of
go
the
by
melt up
levels.
guys, most of the melt up guys are going to end up saying they were right. But
Yeah,
here's my bone with them. How many of their subscribers stayed long during that 20%
none
sell
of
off in
them.
S and
None of
P's?
them. Are you kidding me? They got
And
blown
that,
up.
yeah. So I mean that was you could talk melt up, but if you're not
Exactly.
tactical, you're
Yeah,
not there for that melt up.
that's right. So that's why I'm saying in January, when we gave those crystal ball predictions, we make it known, like, don't go by this. This is just something that a lot of other funds that, look for the future. I don't trade like that, but we decided to do a, crystal ball prediction and it came true. Not
Okay.
just ES, but all of them. So I say, let's do an end of year prediction. If we hit this double whammy, then I don't know. Then we're blessed, I guess.
Okay.
What do you suggest? What do you want to
All
do?
right. Well, why don't I do one? And everything I selected was contrarian. It doesn't mean that it's actionable today, but
Yes,
we're
of course.
giving some long-term looks. And I thought I'd start with the dollar. Now, the whole world is bearish a dollar, and you could see that in commitment of traders reports. You could see it in um, what you see in the press. The dollar is dying. You have to stop sharing, Steve. The dollar
Oh,
is
shoot.
it's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay, no
Where's
problem.
the stop
Just
sharing?
unshare the green
Yep,
thing.
see it. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so um the whole world's bearish a dollar. In fact, we'll probably see McDonald's start running commercials. The dollar's low, like they did the last time the dollar was killed. So When you look at something long term, you have to look at weekly. So, I mean, right here, I'm just looking for, I'm long for a bounce in the dollar, but I want to show you guys the weekly and what the setup may be. I'm thinking July is a best guess. So, you guys know that, the last video was called the top in the dollar here. I said we'd go subpar. That's what's happening here. Now, I just want you to see that we have not taken out this low yet, okay? And we might get a little bounce back to here, but my target is based upon this. Going back to the beginning of 23, so we had a high of, call it no, that's higher, 114. And depending upon where you measure it, you could go here, it'd be 14. You go here, it'd be 14, and this would be 15. So 15 from 110 gives you 95. And that's my target for this move. And Ellioticians will say that this would complete wave one down of 3. So dollar bulls, like milkshake guys that are looking for, the dollar's going to be still come back in favor if there's a crisis and there's problems. So a bull would say, instead of this being wave one, would say this is A, B, C for a triangle, and we're going to blow off towards 110 again. But the cool thing is either way, whether it's a completion of wave one, where when you get wave one, you're going to have a wave two bounce. So if we bottom at 95, that'd be a 1,500 pip decline. So we rally 7.5 back for wave two, or we rally back 9 back towards 103, 104, if it's only a bear market rally. So either way, down here, when you start seeing the Dixie trading around 95 and the euro up around 119, is going to be time to go counter trend on the dollar. And maybe it turns into something that isn't counter trend. And you won't hear anyone, they're too embarrassed to even start talking about bottom picking the dollar. And when we're down here, the extremes in COT and the sentiment will even be more bearish as we take out this low and complete the move down here, 96 to 94. So that's my first macro call.
I like it. I'm on par with that. I like
Okay.
it.
So I now why don't you
I
show
like
what
it.
give us a macro call from you. You want to do that?
It's kind of the same thing. Dale, I like it. I like it. They might even go a little bit lower than that, but I kind
Yeah.
of I like it. It's gonna probably do something extreme. You'll see a
Yeah.
wick at the bottom and
Yeah.
a little bit of a shake at the
Yeah.
bottom, maybe stay
Uh,
there for a month, and then all of a sudden you'll just see a monster green candle like they
you know
always
what
do.
I think could be a possibility? Things are really escalating
Big time,
between
big
Ukraine and
time.
Russia
Yeah, even
and
Iran,
Europe.
even
Yeah.
Iran.
But
Iran's
here I'm
asleep.
talking euro. Right now I'm talking euro. So the
Yeah,
Iranian currency doesn't really matter, but the euro is 70% of the
big
Dixie.
time. Yeah,
And if there's problems in Europe and he escalates and a NATO
yeah.
nation,
Gonna roll
uh,
over.
no
Yeah,
one's going to, everyone's going to come back to the dollar because there's an
yeah,
ocean away.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so that could be the narrative.
yeah.
If you like, I could go to another. I have a couple, or you
Go
could
ahead.
show one. All right,
Yeah, go ahead.
so a sector that is going through benign neglect and is something that could really cause problems are the grains. So I want you to look at these weekly charts. The corn looks like it already turned back here, and we're just getting a pullback. So this is still embryonic.
Corn, nice, nice.
Look at where the
Michael, you're
grains
gonna like
were.
this in the forum.
All
Michael's a
right,
corn and wheat guy.
all right. Well, I'm going to
Yeah.
say that
I'm not
these.
a corn guy, but hey, corn. I don't care. He trades
Hey,
bean oil.
all
I
right,
didn't even know what bean oil was.
that's
But
smart.
hey, all the power to you guys.
He's a Chicago guy.
You
So
want to
yeah,
trade corn? You want to trade orange juice? All the power to you. You know what I mean?
you know what,
Whatever it is.
Steve? build a
valves, whatever.
silo and build a silo and fill it up with wheat so you could take care of your neighbors when there isn't any around. And you know what?
That'd actually be
Do you,
smart, to be honest.
it would. That's
Take
biblical.
delivery in the futures market. Boom.
It,
Buy a
it,
farm. Boom.
yeah,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
Joseph.
Yep.
Joseph was the best commodity trader in the Old Testament. And let
Nice.
me say this. They busted some Chinese guy the other day trying to smuggle in this
I
fungus
heard it. I heard that.
that
The hell is
occur
that?
that occurs naturally on crops and destroys them. And then if
Wow.
people eat it, they get sick. It would be
That's a
like
terrorist attack, if you ask me.
exactly. So
That's oh my
do you
God,
think
that's
there's just
crazy.
one guy that
No,
China sent? I mean,
no.
it's a cockroach theory. So
You know what,
even
Bill?
if
What you're
go ahead.
saying there is, I don't know, man. I don't know. I like to connect dots. What you're just saying there is serious because there could be a day, like if there is a clash between the two major
Yeah.
economies in the world, which I think is going to happen. And I think we've been in war for the last couple of years. It's just
Yeah,
not me.
it already is
They're
World
they're
War
they're in
Three.
it's already started. You'll
Yeah.
hear Trump with China. He's like, China, they're the ones who started COVID. Literally, if you really look at what he says, we're already at war with China. And those precautions of what you just said is what actually, of what you just said that happened with, there were Chinese that got caught there, right?
Right, right.
That
Okay.
is, how many more are like that they don't know about
Yeah.
that
And
could
there's the
just wreak
other
havoc everywhere? That's crazy.
and you have the contrarian aspect to it too, because the big beautiful bill, because agriculture, I mean, I think grains took a little hit on the tariff news, so they put in subsidies for farmers. So it's contrary. I mean, the narrative in the public is, oh, the farmers are they're in trouble, so why buy grains? Because grains like oil are fungible.
Yeah,
Because what if we have a supply problem and it could come from Mother Nature too, not
yeah,
just terrorism? We could have extreme heat and have a bad crop. There's not a lot of carryover. Supplies are pretty tight. So there's corn. You can pick your poison. Wheat. What a nice little base here. What's your risk here? And beans look like they've already, they're trying to lift off. I'd be conservative, wait for closes over 11 bucks. And this is still a higher low from what happened back here.
hmm
And the war chant at the Board of Trade used to be beans in the teens.
yeah.
I think we could see $20 beans when things get going.
Ooh,
So even if China doesn't buy ours and they buy Brazil, it's still less supply. It's
yeah,
still being bought.
yeah,
So grains are another contrarian type trade that I think traders should be monitoring. Of course, wait for your signals to do it. Just don't go out and buying blindly, but this is a hell of a nice little saucer bottom developing here. And, back over six would look good. And back over seven's a breakout. That's going to give you just a bear market rally in these grains is big money. If we go 14 to 5 is 9.
hmm
So, halfway back is 9.50, $10 on that.
nice.
Yeah. So
Okay,
there's another one. You want to go
I,
now?
I'm gonna do a yes. I think a lot of people are waiting for it, probably. Let me do a yes.
All
I'm
right,
gonna give. Let me share the screen
all
here,
right. Let me
and
stop sharing and give it to you.
let's see if we can nail another. Let's see if we can nail another year end here.
All right,
Let's share the screen. Where is it? Okay, so
at the
I'm gonna
bottom.
start off my ES prediction here
Okay.
with again what was said in 2026. It's only 50 seconds. I gotta start it with this because
Now, perhaps they'd like to buy the market cheaper before that happens.
Yes.
And shake out bomb and pop, get them to puke down there at 4,800, and then we have a meltdown. Because then they're lost.
Trump comes in, he starts tariffing everybody. Market doesn't like it. It hits our 58, 20, 48, 20 area there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that's the bottom, and then we get a major squeeze, and then there's a nice reset.
Yeah.
Go to 77.55.
Watch.
Right. That's why
Watch.
It's kind of biased.
Watch.
Just like
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
I
think
mean,
that's going to happen, by the way.
And I think that's what's going to happen, by the way. Did you hear that, Dale?
Yeah,
Did it happen?
it happened.
Let's do part two. I just wanted to
Okay.
leave you folks with that. That's I said at the end, and I think that is exactly what's going to happen. I think that's one for the record. I pat myself on the back for that.
Look at
every
Steve
time
and
I hear that, I go, yeah. I knew
Uh,
there. And you know
I
what's
know.
funny? The institutions came right in there, and I was like, if this slips, we got to crash. And then I
Yeah,
remember a Trump tweet came out saying, save the, then it was a squeeze and a half. We got to
Yeah.
save. It was a kick save. You know, in hockey, they do that quick save. It was
yeah.
one of those moves. So I want to do a part two prediction, crystal ball prediction for year end 2025. Me and Dale. Let's see if we could hit a double whammy. If I hit this double whammy, Dale, I don't know then. I don't know. If
I don't
this, at the end of this
We'll,
year, if this
we'll have to
happens,
go. We'll have to
if
learn
this
how to
happens
play
at the end of the
guitar.
year, I give up. I give up. Okay, here we
We'll
go.
start a band.
I think,
Go ahead.
okay. All right, here we go. So let me bring up the screen. All right. All right. This is the prediction for the end of 2025. I'm looking for a 62.95 hit by year end.
Okay.
Could be higher though. But I'm going to
Okay.
give it to year end.
Okay.
December. I'm going to give it to, you know what? Year end. I'm giving year end. At the end of the year, this is crystal ball predictions. Don't be doing options. If you do lottos, I wish I did. And by the way, I didn't hold that move to 48.20. I don't trade like that, but Jesus, I wish I did.
Yeah.
I'm just letting everybody know that.
I was out before Liberation Day.
I was way. I'm just saying these are predictions, crystal ball predictions. Maybe you could do a lotto, but this is what I'm going to give.
But I tell you what, Steve, I got a lot of. I do interviews on other channels. I'm not always a host, and you don't know how many people wrote in their comments that Dale saved me $80,000.
Yeah,
Dale
sure.
saved me,
Yeah,
and they were able to buy it back where they originally owned the stuff, and it saved people's accounts.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. You got to be careful.
I take more pleasure in that than having a winner in my own.
Absolutely. Well,
okay.
This is what I'm looking for. 62.95 end of the year.
That's so conservative, Steve.
I know. I think they're going to chop it to the year end. I don't know. I think they're going to play pivot ping pong. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I think is going to happen. And by the way, I want to share this. And this is, many people know I'm an intraday trader. Today, this chart was given 65.25, 65.30 was given before the non-farm payrolls. So 60.25 was the short. I give it a little bit of room. Today's high is 60.25.
Yeah, clip.
Right now, the price, and it went all the way to 60.10. And if you look on my forum, you'll see. Oh, thanks, Scott. There's Scott posted 60.25 to the tick. And you'll see that I said it can get a breather to 60.10 right here. I just wanted to show people when you intraday trade, if you're a good chartist, you could see where the price is going to go. Actually, I said it on my Twitter.
Well, I mean, that's your, that's your
that's my
wheelhouse.
Yeah, yes.
Your pivots are.
So you'll see here. Yeah. You'll see here the 60.25 clip to the tick price now, and look what I said. From that sweet spot, 60.10 support. Well, the low right now, as we're doing this, Dale, it went to 60.08. So
you better clean it up, man.
I'm just saying, like,
I'm kidding you.
I'm just saying, as a chartist, and I'm an intraday trader, but as an intraday trader, everybody has their different fortes. There's many ways to skin a cat. And what I'm saying is, in your process, if you believe in it, you got to believe in what you do. And if you don't believe in your process, then you're not doing something right. And I don't suggest you just go out there and trade, because especially in these types of markets, if you're especially intraday trading, like you can make, you're a day trader and all of a sudden you had 2 good months, and then all of a sudden it goes downhill. It's because everybody's used to buying the dip, right? So as soon as they see the market goes up, they're all programmed to always buy, 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 buy. But what happens if things change? So you got
Well,
a lot of these new traders that came out in the last 3 or 4 years, right? And
they
they're
got
like, I
bailed
made a bull.
again.
No, but just really think about this, people. Really, they'll tell their friends, I made a boatload,
Yeah.
I did this, I'm a
Retail bought it.
professional. And then all of a
Retail was
sudden,
long.
something happens, and they're not used to that. They're not used to this type of volatility. They're not used to Trump tweet this volatility where, in 1 minute the market's down 60 points. And 60 points in ES could, and especially in the futures market, you're going to get that's a big hit, big. And a lot of these guys kept on keeping the same positions. Like they'll keep their same level of what they traded before. Like, they maybe did a 3 contracts or whatever, and they think, oh, everything's going to be okay. And then all of a sudden, the market's down 67 points. But you get hit hard. And a lot of people weren't used to that type of
Well, they
volatility.
didn't. They're not trading with stops, Steve. A guy like you could. The guy in the street can't. All right. You talk about mental stops. I say the last time I used a mental stop, my first stop was a mental institution.
I use
Okay.
mental stops. And look, if
I know
you
you
can get
do. I know
stops,
you.
you'll get stopped to death in this market. Believe it
Uh,
or not.
you
There's
know
people I
what?
use stops, and in my
When
head,
I
I'm like,
look back,
if you use stops today, especially when there's drop, you just got paper cut 1,000 cuts and you got destroyed.
okay,
What
all
I'm
right,
saying is, well, that's my person. Of course,
that's
stops are. I like to use stops when I go to bed. And I
okay.
let them.
Yeah, you
But
you have
there's
a fail
people.
safe. Yeah,
If you're by your desk, and you'll see so many people that are, I got stopped, right?
yeah,
Okay, but the price is still there hovering.
yeah.
So if you're actually trading, you could just get out. But if you have news events, right? News events, that's when a lot of
Yeah, the
people can
algos
they'll
go
actually
stop hunting.
hold they'll actually hold through a news event. I don't. So it's these sporadic tweets that come out that could absolutely get you hurt, right? So you got to look at are there certain news events during the day? If there is, have your stop. If for example, here's an example. So let's say the market's going up. I hit the 60-25 target, right? You put a short in at 60-25. Of course, put a stop. I'll put a stop in, of course, because it could overshoot it and then you get stopped. But if you're in a trade and you're in front of the computer and you're looking for lower, you could use a mental stop.
No,
It's
you
going to
know
give
what a
you
lot of
time
people say with the
because I'm out at entry. So here's an example.
but you're disciplined, Steve. Most guys, and I've done it myself, where it would get to your stop level, they'll say these dangerous words. I think I'll watch it a while.
No, what I'm saying is, let's say you
You know
took
what
a
I
short.
mean?
Let's say you took the short from 60-25, right?
Yeah,
It's going. I take half off at
right,
60-50, which I always
right.
do.
Yeah,
You
partial.
move your
Yeah,
stop to entry. That's what I do.
yeah.
So if
Okay.
it does those sporadic
PE.
moves,
Yeah,
you still make 50%.
yeah.
There's a lot of traders that don't do that. They're like, no, I'm going to wait the whole thing. I like to
No,
take profit along the way. I don't care if it went lower. Sometimes you say to yourself, ah, shit, I should have hold. But I'm always
yeah.
going to say that. But as long as you made profit along the way, why would you complain about making money? Like here's an example. There's someone, and if you're listening to this, no disrespect, a guy on my Twitter. Well, we called the AG. Like AG, I did a start your engines a tweet 2 days ago and never looked back. It went up 28%.
Yeah,
Okay. Now,
yeah,
I think it was this one here.
yeah.
So
First
look what he
Majestic.
says. No offense to Mickey Silver, but I know you're out of AG like yesterday. Any regrets? When you see that, no offense to you, Mickey Silver, by the way, but what I'm trying to say is you just made 28% in 2 days. It's a lot
Yeah,
of these guys, if you don't, do you know how much 28% is in 2 days?
yeah. You
If you
never go
don't
broke
take
taking
profit and
profits.
you want
Yeah,
to, what if it goes all the way back down to where you bought?
yeah,
You
yeah.
just lost 28%.
You got to ring
So
the
what I'm trying
register.
to say is Why would I regret taking profit?
Isn't that something?
Do you
Yeah.
understand what I'm trying to say?
Oh, because
No thanks to you, Mickey.
they want perfection, Steve. You can't expect perfection at the crap table.
You have a move in 28%.
So
Like
they missed that. They missed another 5%. They wanted whatever they
like
missed.
look at this. We got in here 7:10. Start your
Yeah.
engines tweet came on X that I did. When I see that start your engines,
Yeah.
and that's what you get. And by the way, it hit 864 to the tick. AG
Yeah.
overnight today, it hit it
Yeah. Yeah.
and dropped. What's AG at now? Oh, let's bring it up.
It's down today. All the miners
It's
are
down.
down. Yeah. So, Steve, I
So
was
guess what?
thinking,
Well, hold on here. So it's down. So if you didn't take that money, if I didn't take this profit, what would have happened?
yeah,
Yep, it's 820 right now.
you don't get paid till you take it. All right, Steve, that's a lessons covered. Why don't we just, do you have a vibe on
You want to go gold?
energy?
Oh,
Energy.
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 Okay. Okay, this might scare you. Here's a prediction.
nothing scares me. Give me a,
Here's a
go ahead.
prediction for energy.
Go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
Bigger picture, okay, folks?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Ready.
$90.
And in a hurry.
Prediction $90 for 2025. If 55 holds,
Yeah.
which is $10 lower.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
giving
long.
this. Okay, first 72.
Right.
If this gets taken out,
Yeah.
uh,
And 82.
it's going to be very scary. I think
Do you think
prediction.
oh,
I
go
think
ahead.
it goes to 90 through a geopolitical issue.
Okay.
That's my personal.
Okay. All right. And I'm long.
I could be wrong. Look, folks, I could be wrong.
Yeah. Do you
Just
feel
from
the
looking
same
at
way
the
about
charts, looking at the charts, and I did a lot of research on this. I think there's going to at least hit 72.
Yeah.
But I think there is going to be some geopolitical risk in 2025. The only reason I think is because the writing's on the wall.
And
if you can see the
technically,
writing-
Steve, this is the breakout day today.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the first time
oh
we're
my
going to
God,
close over
6470 is coming. That was my target for oil.
All right.
6470, it's there.
Steve, do you
God,
think that we
it hit?
do you think we were generous to our public with what we handed out? We're not at
Oh my, I
the
got to
same.
show this, Dale. I got to show this.
All right.
I've been waiting for 6470 for weeks.
So you're out now?
You see that wick?
Yeah.
To the tick! That's how we like them.
All right.
That's
So you're out?
wick. I was out a long time ago.
Okay.
I didn't wait for this, but I know people are in. I know people are in it. I don't like this chop garbage, but I know someone in the forum was waiting for this. And
Yeah.
I think it's going to break, by the way. I just
Break
want
out.
to point that
Go
out.
higher.
I think it's going to break. It's going to go higher. But look,
Yeah.
look, a message. This is what I like. And this is what I've learned. A lot of people ask, what have you learned through trading all these years? And what I've learned is this. I always like to take profit, Dale.
Yeah.
And you should not regret taking profit. Even if it went higher, of course you're gonna sleep and say, do you know how many times I'm like, oh damn it. Now I just get over it.
Every
Because
day.
that's how the market is. What if 60? Okay, Dale, what if 6470 is the top, and it could be, which I don't think it is, and then it just gets destroyed.
Yeah.
And oil goes to 40 bucks.
And you
And
didn't
you
take
never
it.
took money off. We don't know. We don't know what this market is going to do. But what I do know is this. Trading levels, which I do and you do as well, gives you a sense of direction of where the market's going to go.
Yeah.
And that direction, a lot of people would say, I'm just going to hold this till $80. And I used to be one of those traders way, way long back. And that is where you get into some serious problems. I find for myself is I let the levels dictate where I'm going to go in a trade, whether it's to the upside and whether it's to the downside. And if it fails, do you know how many times now, if it fails back in the day, I'd be adding, and if it fails, I'd reverse it. I'll reverse the trade. I'll say, you know what? I'm going to go short. So that is the difference between a trader and one that trades with their emotions. And it takes years to master that. It does, because of all these headlines and all this stuff out there. You'll see a lot of people giving these predictions of $10,000 gold, and there's a lot of people that are on major channels calling for that, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
It,
You know what,
it can get,
Steve?
it can get somebody hurt, Dale. I'm being
All
honest, because
right.
I've been there. I've been there.
All right.
It can
Here's
get
what
somebody hurt.
there's
If
a difference between someone being good at the stock market and stock marketing.
Yes,
There's a big difference
yeah,
between
yeah,
being good at trading and being good at marketing. And the most famous guys are great marketers. Harry
yeah.
Dent's been,
But
you
how?
know,
You
go
know,
ahead.
I just want to share this. Look, maybe a lot of the people that you interviewed too have said this, and no offense to them, but all I could say is this. One thing that I've learned when I started out trading is that there's so much information out there, and there's so many people that will get onto the bandwagon of calling, these ridiculous levels. The way I look at it is, if something happens, and this is where I got a really shit kicking myself, is if something happens, if a price target of, let's say, $50 silver, which I think it might hit, by the way. Let's say it doesn't happen. Let's say it just doesn't happen. Let's say it gets to $38.
38. Yeah.
Let's say it gets to 38, and then from there it goes back to $20. Is it possible, Dale? You know it is. It,
27.
it can even go, anything is possible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's say that happens and someone holds silver. Just think about this.
Yeah.
And it gets to 38. They don't sell because they think all these guys are calling 50. And then it gets killed to 20. And then what happens is from 38, it goes to 30. They buy more. Then it goes to 27, 26. They take a mortgage out and they put it in because they think it's an ultimate low. And then it goes all the way down to back to 18, $20.
Yeah. They're wrecked.
And they just lost everything. They lost their wife. They lost their family, all because people out there were calling $50. And that happens a lot, Dale. A
Well,
lot.
all right. Well,
So what I'm trying to, I
let
just
me
want to say this. I want a punchline to people listening.
go
The
ahead.
best thing you can do, and this is based on experience, is don't listen to other people, such as myself too, or Dale, or anybody else. Get off your fat ass, get off your ass, learn these markets. It takes years, and start listening to yourself. And that's what I did. And it was the best thing I ever did. I'll leave you with that.
And I want to leave people with something a little positive. See this shirt
That is
says hope.
positive. That is
Uh,
positive what I said. That's not positive. It is
okay.
positive. It's
I
saying believe in
well,
yourself.
but
Don't ever
I know
believe. Don't ever believe somebody telling you that you can't do it. What I'm saying is,
do it
you're looking at
yourself.
me, you're looking at Dale, you're looking at all these people. Go to yourself. You know what? I can
Suka block.
What's that?
6470, that bazooka block came in.
Okay.
You think that anyways. That wasn't me, by the way. What I'm
All
trying
right.
to say is believe in yourself, traders. Don't ever give up. Start out trying, demoing. Don't go live in these markets. You go
No,
live right away. Give yourself months. Give yourself a year. And
on
when you're
demo.
ready, tackle these markets. That's what I recommend people do. And I'm sure, Dale, you're going to recommend the same thing.
Yeah, but
Don't
you know
rush to
what?
these
You
markets.
you still have to learn, and people are going to have to make a choice. I think they
Absolutely.
need to find a good mentor or someone to work with. A lot of people do it for free, but most of the time, your choice is pay to learn or pay
Yeah.
the market.
It's like
And
tuition, right? It
yeah,
is.
and this word hope, don't ever lose hope because it's the oxygen in our life. But you know what? It's the carbon monoxide in our trading.
And by the
Never
way, those
go ahead.
Bible verses that you give, that I read every morning, I love them, man.
They're Joel Osteen.
I love them. I love them. Some of them
Okay.
are really good.
All
When you see
right.
the like, that means I really liked it. So
All right.
I thank you for that. That's like my morning gospel, my morning prayer. And I am a man of faith, and I'm sure I know you are. Uh, and it's refreshing seeing those, Dale. So keep on going with those. I'm sure a lot of other people love those too. So, and the
Yeah, I
world
don't
needs
know.
that right now. The world needs that right now.
All right. Well, Steve, it's great hanging out with you again. We did a kind of a marathon here today, but I think there's some great ideas. At least I'd say at least half of our ideas I think will work out.
What's your end of your prediction for the S&P, Dale?
Uh,
Yes,
se-
futures,
se-
futures.
7,500.
I like 7,700. Do you remember in the video?
Okay. The only thing that would change is, that first rally we had on the tweet from Trump, we rallied to 5,500.
I
So
think I think it might.
I will buy pullbacks 57, 56. But if we ever close back under 55, there's something else going on. That's the way I see it.
Remember, these are crystal ball predictions, folks.
Yeah.
These
So
markets could tank. There could be a crash, which might happen too because of the geopolitical risk out there.
yeah,
So
the
far, the
war.
market's not. So far, the market's just brushing it
Yeah.
off. But
Yeah.
I think if a nuke flies, then you got a COVID times two. So
Yeah.
be careful
10.
and yeah, yeah.
Be
I don't
ready
even want to
for
talk about that.
anything and everything. And Steve, glad to hang with you, my
What's
trading
your
warrior
gold
brother.
prediction, Dale? What's your gold prediction? I'm putting your feet to the fire here, Dale.
I think
I,
that even if we make a new high here, which I think we will, I think you'll be able to buy it at 2,700 in the
that's a nice
fall.
dip. Let me see that. That was you know what? Yep, I got a 2,700. That's a nice one. You see 2,700, eh?
Yeah, that'll be your next chance to catch a run to wherever it's going, 4 or 5K.
I say it gets to 360 first, though. That's my personal
30,
opinion. I
30,
think it gets to
3,600.
3660. Yeah,
Yeah.
3660.
Yeah, well, I agree. It probably will because the dollar's not done yet. The pullback in gold will happen right
That's
around the
right.
same time as the dollar bottom that we talked about. Maybe July.
Yep.
Okay.
Guys, that is the crystal ball predictions from
Uh,
Dale and
uh,
Steve. We let's see what happens at the end of the year. Hopefully we could do a double whammy. Dale, always a pleasure speaking with you, man.
you too, brother.
Stay healthy, stay strong, and to all you folks listening, we'll see what happens at the end of the year. And stay safe out there because we're living in a crazy world, that's for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, great being with Pivot King. I hope everyone enjoyed it. It'll be tweeted out in a little while, and you could always find it on our YouTube channel at TradeGateHub. So
Dale,
don't just
God bless.
count your don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios, Steve.